Please rise in body or spirit and join me for hymn number 346.
Song Our story this morning is The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas by Ursula K. Le Guin. With a clamor of bells that set the swallows soaring, the festival of summer came to the city of Omelas, bright towered by the sea. The rigging of the boats in harbor sparkled with flags. In the streets between houses with red roofs and painted walls, between old moss-grown gardens and under avenues of trees, past great parks and public buildings, processions moved. Some were decorous, old people in long, stiff robes of mauve and gray, grave master workmen, quiet, merry women carrying their babies and chatting as they walked.
In other streets, the music beat faster, a shimmering of gong and tambourine, and the people went dancing. The procession was a dance. Children dodged in and out, their high calls rising like the swallows crossing flight over the music and the singing. All the processions wound towards the north side of the city, where on the great water meadow called the Green Fields, boys and girls, naked in the bright air, with mud-stained feet and ankles and long, lithe arms, exercised their restive horses before the race. The horses wore no gear at all but a halter without a bit. Their manes were braided with streamers of silver, gold, and green. They flared their nostrils and pranced and boasted to one another. They were vastly excited, the horse being the only animal who has adopted our ceremonies as their own. Far off to the north and west, the mountains stood up, half encircling Omelas on the bay.
The air of morning was so clear that the snow still crowning the 18 peaks burned with white gold fire across the miles of sunlit air, under the dark blue of the sky. There was just enough wind to make the banners that marked the race course snap and flutter now and then. In the silence of the broad green meadows, one could hear the music winding through the city, farther and nearer and ever approaching, a cheerful, faint sweetness of the air that from time to time trembled and gathered together and broke out into the great, joyous clanging of the bells.
Good morning. My name is Marie Hauk, and I am a member of this congregation. Alexa, Mackenzie, and Lexi will light our chalice this morning. Come on up. Please join me in our chalice lighting words found in your order of service. We light this chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, to remind us to connect in spirituality and service, to care for each other and the world, and to create loving community.
Joyous! How is one to tell about joy? How describe the citizens of Omelas? They were not simple folk, you see, though they were happy. But we do not say the words of cheer much anymore. All smiles have become archaic. Given descriptions such as this, one tends to make certain assumptions. Given a description such as this, one tends to look next for the king, mounted on a splendid stallion and surrounded by his noble knights, perhaps in a golden litter borne by great-muscled slaves. But there was no king. They did not use swords or keep slaves. They were not barbarians. I do not know the rules and laws of their society, but I suspect that they were singularly few.
As they did without monarchy and slavery, so they got on without the stock exchange, advertisements, secret police, or the bomb. Yet, I repeat, these were not simple folk, not dulcet shepherds or noble savages or bland utopians. They were not less complex than us. The trouble is that we have a bad habit encouraged by pedants and sophisticates of considering happiness as something rather stupid. Only pain is intellectual, only evil interesting. This is the treason of the artist, a refusal to admit the banality of evil and the terrible boredom of pain. If you can't like him, join him. If it hurts, repeat it. But to praise despair is to condemn delight. To embrace violence is to lose hold of everything else. We have almost lost hold. We can no longer describe a happy person, nor make any celebration of joy.
Welcome to worship at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Greensboro. I'm Rebecca Kay, and I'm a member of this congregation. Unitarian Universalists believe that each person has a trustworthy relationship with the Spirit, with the Holy, with the source of all life, with what some call God, although we name it and know it differently from one another. And we believe that because we are interconnected, nobody is free until we all are free. So we strive to build beloved community here on earth in our fellowship with one another and in our work for justice and peace. Whether today is your first or your 1000th Sunday in our midst, we are stronger because you are with us. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Our ministry team here at UUCG is Cindy Dillard, our Director of Children's and Youth Ministry, Colin McRae, our Director of Music, Julie Hamilton, our Congregational Administrator, and Reverend Sadie Lansdale, our minister, who is on vacation today. This morning, our own, the fabulous Larry Porter, is on piano, and we are grateful for his service. Now is the time to ensure that your cell phones do not add to the story and the music this morning.
A covenant contains the promises we make to one another in response to the great gift of living. Holding ourselves to these holy aspirations, will you join me in our church covenant found in your order of worship? We, the members of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Greensboro, do covenant to promote the search for personal meaning, respecting the individual truth in a community process of quest, speak and act with caring, courtesy, and love, thereby maintaining emotional, physical, and spiritual safety for all. Support UUCG and denominational efforts with our resources. Combat injustice while promoting equality. Nurture our children on their spiritual journey. Hold ourselves to this covenant, especially in times of conflict and disagreement.
How can I tell about the people of Omelas? They were not naive and happy children, though their children were, in fact, happy. They were mature, intelligent, passionate adults whose lives were not wretched. Oh, miracle. But I wish I could describe it better. I wish I could convince you. Omelas sounds in my words like a city in a fairy tale, long ago and far away, once upon a time. Perhaps it would be best if you imagined it as your own fancy bids, assuming it will rise to the occasion, for certainly I cannot suit you all. For instance, how about technology? I think that there would be no cars or helicopters in and above the streets. This follows from the fact that the people of Omelas are happy people.
Happiness is based on a just discrimination of what is necessary, what is neither necessary nor destructive, and what is destructive. In the middle category, however, that of the unnecessary but undestructive, that of comfort, luxury, exuberance, etc., they could perfectly well have central heating and subway trains and washing machines and all kinds of marvelous devices not yet invented here. Floating light sources, fuel-less power, a cure for the common cold. Or they could have none of that. It doesn't matter. As you like it. I'm inclined to think that people from towns up and down the coast have been coming to Omelas during the last days before the festival on very fast little trains and double-decker trams, and that the train station of Omelas is actually the handsomest building in town, though, of course, plainer than the magnificent farmer's market. Please rise and body your spirit and join me in singing our opening hymn, number 311, Let It Be a Dance.
Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you. Through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. In the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you. Through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow with the wind. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child is born, behold the star. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you. Through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Morning stars are cloud at night. Without the dark there is the light. If nothing's wrong and nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. And on we go again. Let it be a dance.
How beautiful it is to be together. If you're joining us in the sanctuary, won't you wave hello to everyone joining us online? If you're online, go ahead and introduce yourselves in the chat. If you're in person, let's take the moment to greet our neighbors. is beautiful to be together. We gather in gratitude this morning, turning our hearts to thanks and praise for the gift of living in the presence of the spirits that animates us all, and in the knowledge that we are connected to all that is, all that has been, and all that will be. During these next few moments of silence, you can focus on something you're grateful for, or someone you're remembering especially today, or just the sensation of your chair supporting you. Will you find a comfortable place in your seat and take a few easy breaths as we settle into our silence together? We bring the echoes in our hearts before our community and before the holy in this sacred space and time. If you're online, this is the time to share your joys and sorrows with one another in the chat. If you're in person and you have a milestone you would like to add to our prayers, you can fill out a yellow card, which the ushers will collect from you. If there's a joy on your heart, place a plant in the vase. If there's a sorrow, place a stone in the bowl, or you may light a candle of prayer and presence with someone you are holding close to you. If you're not sure how you're feeling, or maybe you're feeling a little antsy, there are pipe cleaners in the back to fidget with, mandalas to color, or you may have brought your own needlework, and I love, personally, looking out and seeing at least 3 people out there doing needlework during the service. In church, we practice becoming more fully human. This is our time to take stock of how we arrive here and to take what we need, knowing that the table is set for us all.
Will you join me in prayer and presence? Bathed in silence and song, we offer our joys and sorrows alike, knowing that they are woven fine. Laura Redden shares this morning that she is seeking healing and recovery and renewal after a visit to the ER. Laura, our prayers for healing are with you as you recover from your emergency visit. Our prayers of compassion are with Adele Coleman, whose wonderful dog Hallie died this week. She was Adele's companion for 14 years through 4 cross-country moves, and she brought joy every day. Adele says she will miss her so much. Our prayers are with you, Adele, as you remember your beloved pet. We also share prayers of joy and gratitude this morning. The Lowers received Simon's class schedule. He's going to Weaver as a fresh person later this month. And they were delighted to learn that he'll be taking piano with the legendary Mark Freund. Amelia Maddox, we are grateful for you and excited to share the joy at you starting your doctoral program. She is starting at the University of Illinois Chicago, and she's going to Chicago this week for her orientation, and her program, which is in public health leadership and health justice, is a part-time, mostly remote distance program. We're so grateful to have you and your leadership in our midst, Amelia. And we have more gratitude and joy. Amelia wishes his smoking hot wife, Jake wishes his smoking hot wife, Amelia, a happy birthday this week. And I'm embellishing, this is not what Jake wrote. That was from me, Amelia, not from Jake. Happy birthday, Amelia. We're grateful for you and your life. And we are excited to have in our midst this morning Claire and Tom Zimmerman, who are in the process of building a house in Greensboro and are moving here next spring. And they are active in their UU church in Houston. So join me in welcoming Claire and Tom. We are excited to get to know you better and to have you as part of our loving community here. We name aloud or in the chat those people on our hearts, living or dead, near or far, that this community might hold them in love. Spirit of life and love, God of many names and beyond all naming, source of all. We pray in the words of Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching, translated by Ursula K. Le Guin. This is raw silk and uncut wood. Stop being holy. Forget being prudent. It'll be 100 times better for everyone. Stop being altruistic. Forget being righteous. People will remember what family feeling is. Stop planning. Forget making a profit. There won't be any thieves and robbers. But even these 3 rules needn't be followed. What works reliably is to know the raw silk. Hold the uncut wood. Need little, want less. Forget the rules. Be untroubled. We ask these things for ourselves, for those we love, and for those we do not yet love. Amen.
I will carry you through these chains.
We now invite the young people and their teachers to go back to the RE wing, the religious education wing, for a time of socializing and playing and whatever else is coming up back there this morning. Go in peace, go in love, go in joy.
But even granted trains, I fear that Omelas so far strikes some of you as goody-goody. Smiles, bells, parades, horses, blah. If so, please add an orgy. If an orgy would help, don't hesitate. Let us not, however, have temples from which issue beautiful nude celebrants, already half in ecstasy and ready to copulate with anyone, lover or stranger, who desires union with the deep Godhead of the blood. Although that was my first idea. But really, it would be better to not have temples in Omelas. At least not staffed temples. Religion, yes. Clergy, no. Surely the beautiful nudes can just wander about, offering themselves like divine souffles to the hunger of the needy and the rapture of the flesh. Let them join the processions. Let tambourines be struck above the copulations and the glory of desire be proclaimed upon the gongs. And, a not unimportant point, let the offspring of these delightful rituals be beloved and looked after by all. One thing I know there is none of in Omelas is guilt. But what else should there be?
I thought at first there were no drugs, but that's puritanical. For those who like it, the faint, insistent sweetness of druse may perfume the ways of the city. Druse, which first brings a great lightness and brilliance to the mind and the limbs, and then after some hours of a dreamy languor, and wonderful visions at last of the very arcana and inmost secrets of the universe, as well as exciting the pleasure of sex beyond belief. And it is not habit-forming. For more modest tastes, I think there ought to be beer. What else belongs in the joyous city? The sense of victory, surely. The celebration of courage, but as we did without clergy, let us do without soldiers. The joy built upon successful slaughter is not the right kind of joy. It will not do. It is fearful, and it is trivial. A boundless and generous contentment, a magnanimous triumph felt not against some outer enemy, but in communion with the finest and fairest in the souls of all people everywhere, and the splendor of the world's summer. This is what swells the hearts of the people of Omelas, and the victory they celebrate is that of life. I really don't think many of them will need druse.
Most of the processions have reached the green fields by now. A marvelous smell of cooking goes forth from the red and blue tents of the provisioners. The faces of small children are amiably sticky. In the benign gray beard of a man, a couple of crumbs of rich pastry are entangled. The youths have mounted their horses and are beginning to group around the starting line of the course. An old woman, small, fat, and laughing, is passing out flowers from a basket, and the tall young people wear her flowers in their shining hair. A child of 9 or 10 sits at the edge of the crowd, alone, playing on a wooden flute. People pause to listen, and they smile, but they do not speak to him, for he never ceases playing and never sees them, his dark eyes wholly wrapped in the sweet, thin magic of the flute. He finishes and slowly lowers his hands, holding the wooden flute.
And as if that little private silence were the signal, all at once a trumpet sounds from the pavilion near the starting line, imperious, melancholy, and piercing. The horses rear on their slender legs, and some of them neigh in answer. Sober-faced, the young riders stroke the horses' necks and soothe them, whispering, "Quiet, quiet there, my beauty, my hope." They begin to form in ranks along the starting line. The crowds along the racecourse are like a field of grass and flowers in the wind. The festival of summer has begun. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing number 348, Guide My Feet.
Do you believe? Do you accept the festival, the city, the joy? No? Then let me describe one more thing. In a basement under one of the beautiful public buildings of Omelas, or perhaps in the cellar of one of its spacious private homes, there is a room.
It has one locked door and no window. A little light seeps in dustily between cracks in the boards, secondhand from a cobwebbed window somewhere across the cellar. In one corner of the little room, a couple of mops with stiff, clotted, foul-smelling heads stand near a rusty bucket. The floor is dirt, a little damp to the touch, as cellar dirt usually is. The room is about 3 paces long and 2 wide, a mere broom closet or disused tool room.
In the room, a child is sitting. It could be any gender. It looks about 6, but actually it's nearly 10. It is feeble-minded. Perhaps it was born defective, Or perhaps it has become imbecile through fear, malnutrition, or neglect. It picks its nose and occasionally fumbles vaguely with its toes or genitals as it sits hunched in the corner farthest from the bucket and the two mops. It is afraid of the mops. It finds them horrible. It shuts its eyes, but it knows the mops are still standing there, and the door is locked, and nobody will come.
The door is always locked, and nobody ever comes, except that sometimes the child has no understanding of time or interval. Sometimes the door rattles terribly and opens, and a person or several people are there. One of them may come in and kick the child to make it stand up. The others never come close, but peer at it with frightened, disgusted eyes. The food bowl and the water jug are hastily filled. The door is locked. The eyes disappear.
The people at the door never say anything, but the child, who has not always lived in the tool room and can remember sunlight and its mother's voice, sometimes speaks.
I will be good. Please let me out. I will be good.
They never answer. The child used to scream for help at night and cry a good deal, but now it only makes a kind of whining. And it speaks less and less often. It is so thin, there are no calves to its legs. Its belly protrudes. It lives on a half bowl of cornmeal and grease a day. It is naked. Its buttocks and thighs are a mass of festered sores as it sits in its own excrement continually.
They all know it is there, the people of Omelas.
Some of them have come to see it. Others are content merely to know it is there.
They all know it has to be there.
Some of them understand why, and some do not. But they all understand that their happiness, the beauty of their city, the tenderness of their friendships, the health of their children, the wisdom of their scholars, the skill of their makers, even the abundance of their harvest, and the kindly weathers of their skies depend wholly on this child's abominable misery.
This is usually explained to children when they are between 8 and 12, whenever they seem capable of understanding. And most of those who come to see the child are young people, though often enough an adult comes or comes back to see the child. No matter how well the matter has been explained to them, these young spectators are always shocked and sickened at the sight. They feel disgust, which they had thought themselves superior to. They feel anger, outrage, impotence, despite all the explanations.
They would like to do something for the child, but there is nothing they can do. If the child were brought up into the sunlight, out of that vile place, if it were cleaned and fed and comforted, that would be a good thing indeed. But if it were done in that day and hour, all the prosperity and beauty and delight of Omelas would wither and be destroyed. Those are the terms. To exchange all the goodness and grace of every life in Omelas for that single small improvement. To throw away the happiness of thousands for the chance of the happiness of one. That would be to let guilt within the walls, indeed.
The terms are strict and absolute. There may not even be a kind word spoken to the child.
Often the young people go home in tears or in a tearless rage when they have seen the child and faced this terrible paradox. They may brood over it for weeks or years, but as time goes on, they begin to realize that even if the child could be released, it would not get much good from its freedom. A little vague pleasure of warmth and food, no doubt, but little more.
It is too degraded and imbecile to know any real joy. It has been afraid too long to ever be free of fear. Its habits are too uncouth for it to respond to humane treatment. Indeed, after so long, it would probably be wretched without walls about it to protect it and darkness for its eyes, and its own excrement to sit in. Their tears at the bitter injustice dry when they began to perceive the terrible justice of reality and to accept it.
Yet, it is their tears and anger, the trying of their generosity, and the acceptance of their helplessness, which are perhaps the true source of the splendor of their lives. Theirs is no vapid, irresponsible happiness. They know that they, like the child, are not free. They know compassion. It is the existence of the child and their knowledge of its existence that makes possible the nobility of their architecture, the poignancy of their music, the profundity of their science.
It is because of the child that they are so gentle with children. They know that if the wretched one were not there sniveling in the dark, the other one, the flute player, could make no joyful music as the young riders line up in their beauty for the race in the sunlight of the first morning of summer.
Now, do you believe in them? Please join us in the response hymn number 1053, How Could Anyone?
One of the ways that we live out our mission to create loving community is to contribute financially to the ministries of this congregation and to the good work of our community partners. Today's offering goes to the Carolina Abortion Fund, focused on ending this, This fund maintains an emergency phone line that can help people by supporting them emotionally, by providing transportation, and by providing financing. I invite you to read more about them at their website. If you'd like to make a contribution for offering to be split with the Carolina Abortion Fund, you can do so at the link in the description of this video. You can text GIVE to the number in your order of service. You can also mail a check. Ushers will come forward to collect the offering, which will now be gratefully received.
Yeah.
Now, do you believe in them? Are they not more credible? But there is one more thing to tell, and this is quite incredible.
At times, one of the children who go to see the child does not go home to weep or rage, does not, in fact, go home at all.
Sometimes also, a much older person falls silent for a day or two and then leaves home.
These people go out into the street and walk down the street alone. They keep walking and walk straight out of the city of Omelas, through the beautiful gates.
They keep walking across the farmlands of Omelas. Each one goes alone, young people, adults, elders.
Night falls. The traveler must pass down village streets, between the houses with yellow lit windows, and on out into the darkness of the fields. Each alone, they go west or north towards the mountains.
They go on. They leave Omelas. They walk ahead into darkness, and they do not come back. The place they go towards is a place even less imaginable to most of us than the city of happiness. I cannot describe it at all. It is possible that it does not exist.
But they seem to know where they are going, the ones who walk away from Omelas. Please rise and body or spirit to join in our closing hymn, number 1018, Come and Go With Me.
Join me in our chalice extinguishing words found in your order of worship. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
If you're online and would like to get more connected, you can click on the link in the description of this YouTube video and let us know how we can connect with you. If you're in person, you can fill out the form online at the visitors table or find it on our website. And please plan to stick around next week to learn more about us in our Exploring Membership class, which returns on August 11th in the library. Next week, we're going to focus on religious exploration if you're trying to get your stamps. I am also delighted to make sure everyone knows that our welcoming congregation certification has been renewed. Thank you so much to the team that was responsible for leading that work. Could you stand up, please, and be recognized? We are grateful for you. And today, more than maybe other weeks, we always encourage you to stay for post-worship reflection, but Marie and I love this story. I mean, love is a weird word to use for it, but we really hope that you will stay for post-worship reflection, which will end right at 12. We designed the service around this really haunting story because we wanted to talk about it. So please stay. We'll convene right here at 11:15, so grab your coffee, take care of your body, and come right back here and hang out with us.
And so we leave with questions.
On whose suffering does our joy depend?
Knowing that, how do we experience sweetness still?
Where are we bound? Blessed be.
And amen. Our benediction hymn is 1058, The Hours of Religion.